Hi, this is Kym Watson from Easy Trader. I just want to give you the week ahead from the perspective of a news-based trader. Basically, a lot of my trading comes from news events. So what I'm going to do here is cover off the events which I think will give us the best volatility throughout the week as we move forward. Now, of course, you can use this news as you wish. As I say, I trade the news quite frequently, or trade following the news. So depending on the type of news, we've got different methods for getting in and trading news, and we find it very successful because of the high volatility around these events. So no more to do. Let's have a look at now. Before I move on, Monday today, the 16th, we have no news coming out. We've seen already the dollar sold off quite considerably based on the fact that the front runner for the Fed chairman job, Larry Summers, decided that he would pull out of the running, which then left the previous Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, who's also reiterated his reluctance to be considered. So it's left really the archdove, as they refer to her, Janet Yellen, as the possible front runner for the position as Fed chairman. Now, just the fact that Larry Summers, who was seen as probably more bullish and was lined up for the role, has resulted obviously in the dollar being sold off quite considerably there. So let's have a look at the week ahead now. Tuesday, so nothing more today, Tuesday, unless of course we get events that are outside of the diaries. But the key events that are diarised are the results of the UK Consumer Price Index CPI figures due out at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Now, whilst inflation is not going to be triggering interest rate increases anytime soon, it does give us an outside, a sign of growth within the economy. Any sort of increased inflation rather, often is based on the fact that there's demand. So demand-led inflation would see the pound gain in strength. Generally, we see around about a 40 pip movement around this news event. So there's often quite a bit of volatility, particularly if it comes out slightly different to expectation. In the afternoon at 1:30, we've got the US Consumer Price Index figure to be released there. So same thing, inflation. Here we've seen a bit of a pattern, and there's a concern of the lack of inflation in the US. In reported terms anyway, I should suggest, but these figures have been okay. They've been increased, or say the rate of inflation on a core figure has been increasing by 0.2 for the last 3 months. It's expected to come in at about 0.1 this month. Any move from that could give us a decent move in the markets, some decent volatility, particularly based on the fact that on Wednesday we've got the meeting, or we've got the outcome of the meetings of the FOMC committee. Wednesday morning, first thing, we've got the UK Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee minutes at 9:30. Now, I think most of the content of this is probably being heard, because last week we had the Bank of England governor and a number of committee members testifying in front of the Parliamentary Treasury Committee. So probably most of the content of this will be heard, but they'll still be looking at the voting, and it may create a bit of volatility around there. But I'm not expecting to trade it as such, unless there's something in there which we haven't seen, in which case it will be interesting and it may give us a follow-on trade, or give us a bit of a lead up to the evening's action. Now, most of the action, I think we're most likely going to be sitting there in a tight range up until we hear from the US Federal Open Market Committee and look at their economic projections, the statements. The bank rate's less interesting because it's likely to be remain at a quarter. They've already suggested that. What we'll be looking for here in the economic projections will be their expectation of GDP, job growth, etc. Now, the GDP, there are comments that it may actually reduce slightly, but the key thing of all from this FOMC meeting is whether they'll start reducing start tapering the amount for the quantitative easing. So they're expecting this figure and it has been widely banded about figures of about 10 billion less in terms of quantitative easing. Now, this has probably been built into the market somewhat, but the volatility around this whole news event, I think, would be quite large. I think even if it does come out at 10 billion, the expectation is that effectively it will be bad for bonds, treasuries, and it will be good for the dollar. So we would see, if they did this, we'd see the dollar gain some strength, or would expect to see the dollar gain strength, and the US bond market falling quite considerably. It's expected to, as I say, the reduction in terms of buying would be in terms of the treasuries as opposed to the mortgage-backed securities. So that was, as I say, what caused the dollar to shoot up. Now, following that meeting, or following those projections and that release, we'll have the press conference at 7:30. Now, of course, at 7:30, the initial thing is a prepared statement. So initially you get a prepared statement, which generally will be confirming what's been already released. And then, of course, we get the Q&A. And the Q&A can be very unpredictable, and the market can go anywhere from that point of view. The key thing would be from the projections initially. And I think the most important thing is tapering on and off this starting from this month. Okay, moving on to Thursday, we've just left with the UK retail sales at 9:30. Again, this particular bit of news, we've seen around about 40 pip moves around this bit of news, so hopefully we'll see some continuation. But there end of the week in terms of key news events for me. Friday, there's nothing significant coming out, so it's really what we'll see of the aftermath of Wednesday evening's Fed reports, and we most likely will see a continuation of move from that point of view running through for the rest of the week, even if it's dulled down a bit. So there you go, that's my outlook for the week. I hope you have a great week. If you want to come and trade with us, you can find out further information from this website. Best of luck. Bye for now.